Yo, what's going on? It's the Heavyist podcast, weekly worship at the altar of radness. Happy New Year, everybody. It's
New Year.
2020 bloody 5, and we're starting the year off with a lovely guest.
Yeah, hi guys. Nice to be back.
Andreas. Good to have you back, man. Literally, I just looked. I was like, oh yeah, when he was on last, I think it was like 2022. It was 2020. That's like 4 years. It's so ridiculously long ago.
Right, the old pandemic and that.
Yeah. That's crazy how long that is. I literally thought it was like 2 years.
I thought
absolutely.
so too. I was just thinking about it, but
yeah, man, it's gone crazy, and I think I've been really looking forward to this actually, because I think it's fair to say that like since we spoke to you last, the place that you guys are as a band is massively different. Like I feel like you guys have really grown in popularity. You signed to Nuclear Blast. You're about to release your second Nuclear Blast record. You know, you've done US tours. You did an Audiotree. You've got the new album Everything Rots coming out in April. It's you guys. You know, you must be in really sort of in a completely different sort of place to when we last spoke to you. So I think this is going to be really cool, just for us to sort of understand the cogs of deathcore. You know, I think this is really nice.
So a lot has happened like in the last 4 years. Feels like it was yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys you've been on quite a lot. You had some really big tours. Signing to Nuclear Blast. You've got your new album coming out. Everything Rots. I just listened to the singles again just to sort of refresh it for myself, and they absolutely rip, dude. They're so sick. What are you guys sort of like looking to achieve, or like what was sort of the difference between Magno and Terratus to Everything Rots?
I'd say that this album is way more us. I think like we've been on this kind of like journey of finding ourselves in the music, which is something that's been happening gradually for each record. And I think now, at least from just speaking for me, I'm like, oh, this is kind of where I want to be. It's like now I like all the other stuff we've done and I'm proud of it. But now I'm like, oh, now it's actually kind of where I think I always wanted to go.
That's cool.
Which is
less
great. Complicated, more stupid.
Nice. That's cool. Dumbing down's cool. As long as it gets harder. Hard and stupid, like as long as they're together, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I also think a lot of it that stems from just playing. I think since we've talked, we played more than 200 plus shows, something like that. More in 4 years, so maybe 300 shows.
Wow. That is amazing.
When we've been speaking, we toured a little bit. We were kind of like dipping our toes into actually being like a real touring band. Like we'd done we had done a lot of stuff, but it's something completely different now. It's like kind of our main jobs. Like
So do you think that now you've got an understanding of you've got a much better understanding of like your ability on stage, like what's going to pop, like how to control people, and now you're just writing the things that are going to utilize all of those things the best?
Exactly. That was what the point I was getting at. Is just like playing that many shows, testing out the different songs, be like, oh, what feels cool to play. Like one thing is like what's fun to write, but another thing is also like when you're actually playing it, what gets a pop with the audience? How does it feel? Like what do we like playing? Like and we just found out, oh, okay, all the stupid parts when it's kind of simple and we can jump around like monkeys on stage. That's kind of like where that was.
Nice, yeah.
I love that you call them stupid parts. Like the big fat groovy stuff is I've seen it like increasingly in your material. Every time you release something new, it's more groovy and more chunky. Like exactly how much Immure do you guys listen to?
Surprisingly, little like I really like Immure. I kind of grew up on it, and then I kind of fell off with that band for a while. Then they put out.
So did everyone.
Yeah, everyone did.
Then they put out like, what's it called? What the White album?
Yeah,
Speaker of the Dead.
No, it's the
After
one
that,
with
they came back with
Josh.
Josh Travis.
Yeah, with Josh
Oh,
Travis.
that one where it was like it was the worst album ever.
No, the one with Josh
No, it
Travis is
wasn't.
amazing. It's
What are
the
you on
first
about?
one. It's what's the tune? Smokey. Oh my god, that tune's massive.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
thinking of
Yeah,
I'm
the one
thinking of the one that
after
we
that one,
covered. Yeah, the one that we
absolute
covered was
toilet.
mental.
But yeah.
Oh yeah, look at yourself.
Look at yourself. That's the one. Yeah,
That
that
one was
album
fucking
is
sick.
absolutely incredible.
I
And
can't say that I listened to the other one
yeah,
after.
don't save yourself from it. It's really bad.
It's comical, to be fair. It's
It
like
was
worth it to
yeah.
understand it.
It's like watching The Room or something. Like it's so
Yes.
bad it's good. But
Kind of like entertaining still.
yeah, absolutely. Do you also think that maybe some of the bands that you've like toured with have rubbed off on you in terms of those kind of groovy, chunky vibes that you've been throwing in more often?
Yeah, and I also just feel like I think another key component is like I'm way more involved, like not just like writing the lyrics and the vocal patterns, but like on everything Raj, I've been sitting with Chris and writing all the like almost everything.
Awesome.
So I've
Sick.
been the annoying guy who can't play guitar, but will go, hey, make it go bam.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You like sending voice notes of like what a guitarist should sound like.
Yeah, exactly. Who's sitting there. So, and I come from a background of more like I grew up with like hardcore and punk. That's like my like this. That was like the first kind of shows I went to. So that kind of like bit more dumped down raw energy is always where my heart has been. I like all the other stuff. I've been listening to it, but I've always been kind of like pushing more for it. And this time I was like, I also finally felt like I had the chops to actually have something like constructive to contribute with. Like
That's cool.
doing
Nice.
it for so long that now that I actually know how like song structures work, even though I can't play anything, I'm like, yeah, but I know like if you do this thing and like if you
Absolutely. I think there's always got to be a person in the band who's the structure guy, even if they don't necessarily write riffs and stuff. You just to go in, I know what's going to feel good when it happens.
yeah.
Definitely.
And I think a lot of that is also on the experience of like from all the live shows. I'm like, oh, if we do this one part here and like take out like if you know something, it's gonna hit so hard, and I try to envision the pit for me. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
you just
this is like
imagining commanding the crowd with it. Yeah, that's really cool.
So yeah, I think that's a big difference on the new stuff. Yeah, so if it's really dumb and weird, and you're like, why did they do that? It's probably my idea.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we'll be looking out for that. Yeah, so Everything Rots is out in April. There's a couple of singles out right now. They're absolutely sick. Is there anything sort of conceptually with this record that was interesting? Like obviously you being the lyricist and things like that. Like how did you approach it?
Oh, it's like kind of like it's always been like my catharsis for like shitty experiences.
Yeah,
So if
yeah,
something bad happens, I'll kind of like write about it. Which is like we are like a really heavy band, so and it's kind of still very dark. So it's just if everything shit I'll write about in Cabal, and then if I want to make some happy music, I can do something else.
yeah. It's how you maintain being a functioning, normal, lovely person. You just get it all out and there.
Yeah, and like I think with the kind of like crazy life that being a musician is, like a lot of weird bad shit comes with that too. So there's like I think like with everything Ruts, it's kind of like about the cyclical nature of things falling apart because it kind of feels like oh everything's good, oh fuck.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. I can't even remember how long ago this was, but I remember you guys had a thing where you were supposed to go to the US and that fell through. Was that a thing, or am I?
I think
Did you have a tour that was like a US tour and it fell through? Like, or am I being?
we had like all of our shit falling through during COVID.
Oh,
God.
maybe it was that. I don't know.
So yeah, it's one thing that did happen that fucking sucked. We did like our first run over there. We just did the last 10 seconds of live, and we saw Discord, and it was like sick, and we were like, oh, perfect. Like I'd quit my job, and we were like, let's just fucking tour. And we'd gotten these work visas, which cost like so much fucking money. I think we were like, I think one just like for a year they were like how much is that in pounds? Like I want to say like 8 or 9,000 pounds.
Oof.
Yeah. So and we finally
It's not
got it.
change.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, especially where we were at that point. Now it's like a little bit different, but at that point we would like sunk all the money into this, and we made all the money back on the first US tour. We were like sick. We had like some other stuff, like tried to get that lined up, and we had like a dream tour fall through as well. We were going out with like Humanity's Last Breath and Black Tongue in Europe, and that got pushed like 4 times, got cancelled. We had like a bunch of sick festivals. Like I think just everything fell through. The work visas expired, so we had to do them all anew.
Him again.
Jesus.
There's no refund.
16K
Nothing.
each in the hole already before you've done anything. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get like money off the next time for not using it. Like,
No,
the refund policy was not sick.
no, it's not there, so, and the world just didn't open up again. So everything kind of fell apart like for a little while, and it fucking sucked. But we kept on going, and then we came back stronger than ever, and just been going since.
Yeah. I mean, considering all that happened, like for you guys to have done like 300 and something shows since then is pretty nuts. You must be knackered.
Yeah, dude. For the first time ever, we had to like cancel a show. Like, I think that's like one of the first times we've ever. I think we've done that once because of sickness. We were out with Miss May I, and I got so sick. Like, I think it was like a mixture of stress and some flu and shit. I lost my voice completely, so we had to cancel like our last show of the year in London, which sucked and it felt really bad and cost us a lot of money to do. But I was like, shit, like I there's like no way I can perform. So
that's brutal.
yeah, so that's the first time that's ever actually happened. Like usually we'll power through. I'll do it with the flu or whatever, but like at this time it just wasn't doable and it felt shitty. And I think my New Year's resolution is listening to my body a bit more.
Yeah, respect.
But also now we have like we go out with like Caliban and then Heart's Wake in April, but that's like. So this break we have now is like 4 months, which I think is the longest break we've had from touring since the world opened again.
Wow. What do you? I mean, you've got the album's not coming out like till probably that tour starts. You know, what are you gonna be doing with yourself? Are you just gonna be chilling hard?
Yeah, actually, like having some good routines, going to the gym a bunch. I think so.
Get your vitamin C so you don't make sure you don't get the flu again.
Yeah, exactly. Just doing a little bit of work that isn't like band stuff. Just being home a bit. Like
Excellent.
yeah.
I wanted to talk about collaborations. You guys have had like obviously you did collab. You were on the Life Sick track, which was absolutely sick. Life Sick are like one of our favorite bands. They absolutely rip, man. That was so cool. You had Joe Bad on the previous record. That's like absolutely sick. That's also one of our favorite things ever. Just like what were those experiences like, and is there anything else like that lined up for you?
That's like some really cool stuff on the new record, and we're really like excited to share. We've been really lucky, I feel like, that been hitting up people that we think are really cool, and almost always it's been
nice. Yeah. That's great.
So we get to do music with like these cool people that whose music we all like. So it's just like a kind of like, as a fan of this kind of music, it's just really sick to get to do it, and we're very happy to like a lot of those people, especially on this record. It's been kind of like a lot of people that we are now just consider friends.
Yeah.
Like so, we had Aaron on Still Cursed, and we did the Summer Slaughter tour. We actually did the track before because we met at a festival. We got on like a House on Fire, and just and obviously he jumped on the track. And it's just like, it just feels cool to do something with your good friends while it's still like something significant, if that makes sense. It's still, but it still also feels very safe, and just it's one of our boys jumping on a track with us.
Hell yeah,
That's awesome. The Leipzig thing, I think I told you the story. I went to high school with all of those boys
Oh, okay, sweet.
in my hometown. So we've been like mates for last, I don't know, like 14, 15 years, something like that. And we played in different bands. We played some stuff together. Like we've all been intertwined in the local scene. Like so, doing a track with them made a lot of sense. It was really fun. We also brought them out on our first like European headliner earlier last year.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's just really fun to do all of this stuff with cool bands that are also our very good friends.
That's actually cool that you said about the Danish music scene. I wanted to ask you about it in general. So I'm trying to think of like what's like the biggest Danish heavy band right now, and like who do you guys look at to be like, wow, if we can get to their like notoriety in Denmark, we'll be super happy. Like who's the ones that you guys sort of like look at,
I don't know,
or is it you?
that's the thing. Like, so the biggest ones would definitely be like someone like Volbeat.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, true.
Like massive. They'll sell out. I think they
Yes.
sold out like a 40,000-50,000 cab venue or something like.
Yeah, I remember like when we were in school and stuff, and like James Hetfield like just got well into Volbeat, and then because of that, they basically exploded. It was insane.
Yeah, they went with Metallica on tour. They're like, I think they're definitely like the biggest band we have back home. Musically, it's not really for me. Like, I definitely respect them and admire where they've gotten to. I do not listen to it. Like I'm struggling a little bit with that.
You got to stay respectful, but yeah, okay, it's not your thing. Like, that's fine.
Yeah,
definitely not for me, but very impressive. But I don't really know if I necessarily see us in them, if that makes sense. I would say like within like heavier music, I think like the biggest thing right now would actually be like Siamese, if you know that.
Oh,
I don't think I know that band actually. No,
I don't know if it would be you guys. It's kind of like if you take R&B and mix it with like metalcore. Very
fun. Sort of issues kind of style, bit sort of like kind of sassy, but with big bouncy riffs. Yeah, I think I have come across them before.
Exactly.
I didn't realize they were from Denmark.
They are. So our manager sings in that band.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool.
It's such a small scene. Everybody knows it. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
They just sold out like a 1,600 cap venue. They're selling out shows all over Europe.
Oh, wow.
Like they've within the last like handful of years, they've also kind of like finally gotten to a state where they're like one of I would say like probably like one of the biggest like heavier bands back home now. Like counting like the rest of the world into that equation as well. So we also have bands like Based.
Based.
Yes.
There's loads of bands that you're seeing that we saw earlier. Well, just tail end of last year, we saw Hexis at Damnation. They were awesome.
Hexis
we've been banging to Eyes for a long time. Like, there's a lot of really sick bands coming from your country at the moment.
Yeah, it's like the scene has never been better. Like, and both like back home, so like this was my point. Like Best, we played a show with them. It was like a 1,600 cap venue, sold out. Like the first time that a Danish death metal band has ever done that.
Yeah, that's
so it's kind of a cool bit of history to be a part of. Like, so they're like probably like the biggest heavy thing back home, but in the rest of the world, they're like not that big yet. But I think like once people finally discover them, they're like gonna take off.
Yeah, they'll catch on.
Yeah, Gary loved a bit of Based.
Yeah, their last record was absolutely wicked. What's it, Necro Sapiens? That album's well good.
The new stuff is really sick as well. It's like they put this kind of like 70s rock and roll almost, or 80s like twist on death metal.
Nice.
I don't really feel like I've heard before, and it's really fucking sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where like that takes them, because I think that's something I haven't heard before, and it's like really interesting.
Is there any like smaller bands in the Danish scene that you think are doing really sick and they're like probably going to explode? Like any sort of like hot tips? You know the people that listen to this podcast, that we just love finding little bands like that. You can look back and go, have you got any hot tips for any up and coming bangers?
Oh yeah, definitely. So there's a band like one of my friends called Jacob. I do music videos with when I have time, like as like a side gig. he started a band. I think it was like last year or late 2022, 23, called Gradients, which is kind of like it's this weird mixture. Some of it is kind of like they have like some kind of like black metal parts, and then mix in some hip hop. It's kind of like all over the place, but in a really cool way.
Black metal and hip hop.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely mental. I love it.
Yeah, and some of it is kind of like metalcore. It's kind of like very all over the place in a very good way.
Is this Graviton? Does that sound like a track by them?
No.
Or is that somebody else? Gradients.
Gradients, yeah.
Bit of live googling here. Love
it. Yeah, I'll find it. We'll find it.
We'll find it. I'll link it in the description.
I did a track with them as well called Blindsided. Kind of one of the heaviest. Yeah, but they're doing some really cool and interesting stuff. I feel like
lovely. Got it.
Yeah. What else is going on? No, our friends in a band called Dethroner is also putting out some new tracks, and I feel like everything they've been doing lately has been fucking banger. Not a lot of people know them, but
I think I've come across that one. It's just really, really aggro, low tuned, like 9-string guitars or something, like proper savage, right?
It's I think it's just 6-string, but it's just like kind of.
It sounds like a 9.
Oh yeah, but it's kind of like if you kind of like take like the kind of like bratty attitude of some of like the modern hip hop stuff. It's kind of like I'd say it's kind of like the hardcore twin of new metal in some kind of.
Okay.
Nice.
So it's kind of cool like new metal attitude, but with Kubla Khan riffs.
Perfect.
Nice.
Really
count me in.
Yeah. What else is it? So I think Runaway still doing sick. Like
yeah.
They were in the apartment last time we did it.
Yeah, that was so funny.
You like Pub Next Door, they were writing a new song, weren't they? I remember.
Yeah.
So yeah, as we mentioned, like you guys are a much more established act now than when we previously spoke to you. You're sort of like 2 records ahead of when we last spoke to you. You have a much better sort of understanding of the workings of like the modern music business, like of deathcore, and like what you want to do to stay around. So like what sort of bands like inspire you to sort of like in terms of like career longevity, like in terms of like doing this forever, or like do you want to do this forever? Like what's who do you look to?
Gold standard for you? Yeah, I was going to ask that.
Yeah, I think like one of my main like what's it called, like idols is probably the strong word, but like gold standard would be a band like Kubla Khan, because they've been like
that's fair.
Consistently fucking like putting out sick stuff. They haven't like one thing I really admire is like they haven't really changed the sound much.
No.
Doing the thing they say, like they obviously I think like they've gotten better and better, but they've just been grinding, like doing the thing for like I don't know, like 16 years or something like that, just in that band, and now they're like kind of like exploding. And I also really like the way that they do stuff. It's like very inspiring that they're always like they're a small crew. They like keep it kind of like I think they have like a sound guy and media. I don't even know if to bring a media person to sell the merch themselves. Like all of that stuff, they're like even at the level they're at, they just keep it like very.
They run a tight ship.
Yeah, which I really like, and I think that's we do the same thing. Like I'll always be selling our merch, and like I don't think we're ever gonna get techs to do because I think we are all like of the kind of like perception that like when we're on tour, we're not there to party, we're there to work. Like
that's cool.
We can have fun as well, but like it's a job, and we want to treat it like a job. And if you're willing to like do a lot of the heavy lifting yourself, you can actually like make a living pretty like quickly off it.
Yeah, there's less mouths to feed.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, if you have the money and you're doing like a huge ass production, then you should like have people to do that. But like, I feel like a lot of the time, if you're willing to buckle down and be like, oh, I'm going to work for the next 5 weeks, I'm not gonna go like out and party every day. You can get pretty far pretty fast. Like,
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. Like, I wanted to ask you as well about. So I think previously, did you do like a Patreon for a little bit? How did that work out? Like, was that like, what did you learn from it? Did you like? Do you think it's like a viable thing for the future?
Yeah, so we did one during COVID, also because
Yeah.
at that point it felt like a pretty fun way to connect with fans, do some different kind of content, and also try to make a little bit of money, even though like we couldn't really play shows and stuff. So our main source of income was kind of gone. Um, we stopped doing it. It wasn't once the world started opening up again, and we actually had to do the real job again. Like, so it was hard to be consistent with it and give people their money's worth.
Better
I'd
ways
say.
to use your time, I guess, as well. After once
Yeah.
you like, you can go and play shows and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so much other stuff with like running our social medias to spend time, like where I think for some bands, depending on what you want to do, like to me, it's like in the end, it felt like every time I had to spend time on that, it was taking away from some other stuff I'd rather do. So we ended up kind of like just stopping it after, I think it was almost 2 years ago, just because, except for like one member, I think it was like it wasn't really any of the rest of us like passion.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It made sense to do it when there was nothing else to do. And I definitely think if you're more like a creator than a band, and that's like content creation in all like shapes and forms is what you like doing, I think it can be very viable. But I think for us, it just, when we really like had to like sit down and think about how we felt about it, wasn't really like most of us kind of like dream thing. Or
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, content creation and like music, like you don't get into like making music because you want to like make fucking shorts and stuff, but like it just ends up like having to be a thing that like, is like necessary.
I don't know. I feel like there's kind of two kinds of musician these days, isn't there? There's the kind of musician who does do that, who does, all they want to do is sit in their studio at home and make videos for the internet, and they might play a tour every now and then as a way of making people know that they exist. And then there's the guys who I kind of see you guys more being like, we're a band and we're like all about the live experience, and we'll do the other stuff, the content and the social media and stuff, but that's just to perpetuate our name and get more people to come to our tours. Like,
exactly, it's a means to an end. It's not like and I think kind of like it just kind of like it was like natural for us to be like, nah, like actually
that's fair.
It's not really why we do this.
No, you gotta look at people who do just social media stuff and then occasionally play a gig with a hint of skepticism. I think you got to watch out for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very fair. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just like I got into this because I like breakdowns to people that kick each
You like watching the mosh pits move and not the ring light in front of you. Yeah,
I like yelling at people. But if I have to do some fucking silly video to get people to come out and yell at them, I guess I'll do it.
Awesome.
The Audiotree session you guys did is fucking so sick, dude. How did that come about? I was so stoked to see, like, it's not often it's really like a deathcore band on there. There's like a few in there. Like was it did To the Grave do one? Is that the other deathcore band that did one? Or
I don't think it was To the Grave. I think it was
Enterprise Earth.
Yes,
Enterprise Earth.
That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was a really like refreshing thing to see you guys on there, and it looks great as well, like all the red light and stuff, and like it's all filmed like beautifully. Like it looks amazing before you even listen to the fucking thing. Like it was that was so cool. How did that go?
I hated the mix on it.
No, did you?
I was so stoked. I'm still happy to do it because I used to watch a lot of Audiotree.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there was something about the mix that just didn't sit right with me, but at the same time we didn't have it felt like somebody who wasn't used to mixing metal mixed it. I was like, oh, why?
Right.
Yeah, someone who usually does the folk bands.
Like, why does it sound like this?
Ah,
But yeah,
well,
we were really happy to do it, and we just hit them up. We had our manager. We were like, oh, we're actually going through Chicago. And Christian, who was still back then, he was still a stand-in in the band. He was just like, it was his idea. It was like, oh, should we try to ask them? I was like, yeah, I'll have me as a text him, send them a mail and see what happens. I was like,
so you just slid in the DMs and then it happened.
yeah, I know, like, yeah, sure, that's it was.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we're the first Danish band to ever do Audiotree, which also feels kind of sick.
Yeah, it's a proper it's a real sort of it's like a stamp.
Yeah,
A stamp accolade. That's it.
Accolade.
That's the
kinda
word.
like
That's the word. A stamp. Like when you go to the dentist, you get a nice little smiley face. You get a Flintstone
on the
sticker.
back of your hand when you go into the smoking area. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
That's cool. So it's a shame that you didn't enjoy the mix, but it's kind of funnier if you didn't. To be honest.
I will like I don't think it sounded very good, but we're still very thankful that we got to do it. It was a fun experience, kind of like a bucket list thing. But I just wish it sounded good.
Does it make you wish that you sort of like, would you like to do another one that was sort of like your own one that was like, you control the mix of like, could you see that working its way into a thing for the new album or something like that, or something you do in the future?
We actually did one for COVID. It was on our Patreon. We teamed up with something. Oh, what the fuck is it called? Like this kind of like visual company, and they made like some crazy visuals based on some of our music. We were playing in front of them, like live set.
Oh, sick!
Yeah, I think maybe we should put it up. It's up there somewhere. It was something we made exclusively for Patreon. It's in there somewhere. I don't actually know where it is. But it's just so old now that I don't know. Maybe we should do something new.
Yeah, do a new one.
Yeah, man.
I love all that kind of stuff. As a person who spends a lot of time sat in front of his computer, I love all that kind of stuff.
I feel like, again, a lot of the time, it's to me, like, I like watching them. I don't like doing them all that much.
No, that's fair. That's fair. It could be a bit. I guess it's weird trying to act like you're playing live when there's nobody there apart from the cameraman. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's so weird.
Just a bit awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I love watching other people do it. I'm just like, so I've always been not actively pushing against them. I'm not like the biggest advocate for them in the band. I'm not gonna like, if nobody else is suggesting it, I'm not gonna do it either.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you think, even if you didn't enjoy the Audiotree, the final product, not the process, do you think that it had like an effect on your profile? Like, did you notice people checking you out because of it? Did you get a little bump from it? Like,
maybe. It's been so long now that I actually don't really remember.
Yeah, sorry, I should be asking you things that happened within the last 4 years. It's really you got a new album coming out, and I'm asking you about a fucking Audiotree from like a fucking 4 years ago.
Nailed it, mate. Nailed it.
Super relevant.
Maybe. I honestly don't remember. Also because it kind of came out right around the same time when we.
It was 2020, wasn't it? Fuck me, it was as well.
It's 5 years now.
It's 5 years.
Just loves Audiotree, man. With,
Andreas, what did you used to have in your packed lunch at school?
I can actually answer that. I used to have like
open sandwiches
with these. What's it called? Like this smoked kind of meat thing, salami.
Lovely.
Yeah, I hated it.
Sounds amazing.
I would always chuck it out. My parents would pack it. I kept telling them to like, the thing was like that smoked salami thing would kind of like rub off on everything else in the lunch. And you have to like, there's like sandwich with Nutella on. I was excited to eat. All of a sudden, this tastes like smoky meat. I'm like,
yes.
I always chuck it. I think that's why I didn't become very tall, because I didn't eat any lunch for like so many.
Did you throw all of your protein away?
They're like a banana that fucking tastes like spicy pork.
Yeah, exactly. Something about that taste. I still like. I don't eat meat anymore, but when I couldn't eat that. It's like scarred me, traumatized me.
That's the way it goes. I used to have the same lunch every day for like 5 years, and I can't look at a corned beef sandwich ever again.
No, it's traumatizing. I get it. The parents they have shit to do as well. They don't want to like spend the time just like time making you a stupid little lunch, but don't give me those.
What was
you've done more recently that I wanted to ask you about was
go
the latest video. How was the coffin full of maggots? That looked absolutely horrible.
One of the worst things I've ever done for a video.
I'm not surprised. Sick. I mean, it works really well, but it looked like you really suffered for it.
I like that you said for a video, as if like in your personal life you've done it. You just do that for
a celebrity. Get me out of it. No, it's in a music video.
It was. I just had this idea for it would be kind of like a crazy visual.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but also I have to do it. Like I'll come up with all of these horrible ideas, but I won't make anybody else do it. I'm like,
that's fair.
It's my shitty idea, so I'll do it.
Just gonna fear factor yourself.
Oh yeah, I did. It was so disgusting. They were in my shirt as well, and like I actually wanted to have even more on my face originally, but after we did the first couple of takes, I was like, I'm done. I need to. They smell weird. They smell like ammonia, kind of like.
Ooh.
Oh really?
Yeah. It was so bad, and like I felt itchy all over. Like.
What was it like procuring the maggots? Did you go about procuring the maggots yourself? Did you like have to go and like?
I went to a fishing store. I was like, "You guys have maggots?" I'm like, yeah, just the refrigerator.
Like, Christ, how much fishing is this guy going to do? Like, you don't even know, mate.
I've done a lot of fishing.
This guy fishes hard.
So hard.
Fucking Captain Birdseye over here.
That was kind of easy. Yeah, but like being in a coffin full of them was bad time.
Yeah, man, I can imagine. The other thing was the sort of the visual language of your albums, right? So I love the photographic, like portrait, like fucked up portrait album covers you've been doing, and there's another one that might be the most fucked up one going on so far on Everything Rots. How do you kind of conceptualize that, and do you guys do that yourself, or do you have an artist you work with?
So I am like the guy behind most of our visuals.
Yeah.
We have like a guy called Alan that we work with, kind of like what's it called, like we'll get all the photos taken and come up with concepts, and we'll send it to him, and he'll put on the final touches, make it like look actually sick, and like do all the kind of like putting together all the parts we deliver. But all the concepts are kind of like just something we come up with.
Nice.
And this like time I was like, kind of like. So the reason why everything is purple is like when we, it's super strange. Like when I bought a purple velvet tracksuit.
Nice.
Back when I still smoked a bit more weed, like now it's really boring. I don't really do much anymore. But I got really stoned on the Never Say Die tour back in 2022. Wearing my purple velvet tracksuit in my bunk. At one point, I was like, "This is really cool. I wonder if it could make it scary."
So you were just baked as hell in a purple tracksuit, and you were like, "Purple fucking rules, dude.
Yeah,
we need to make everything fucking purple."
I was like, that's also like, so purple is also like a color that, like, at least back home, like, kind of represents what's the word, like regalness, like something kind of like majestic. And I wanted the idea, like which I've kind of like making that scary and like creepy kind of fits into the vibe of it, like Everything Rots, like something like just to get kind of like a little bit political. I feel like we're in kind of like seeing the Western world's decline. A lot of shit is happening. Like history is repeating itself. It's not looking super great right now.
Yeah.
I think having like that, like purple kind of represents this kind of like this pompous way of living, and then combining that with like maggots and all that kind of stuff was kind of like helped.
Sort of it's another side of the rot, isn't it? It's the sort of the corruption and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff that you're representing.
Exactly, all that. So that's kind of like the bigger brain like reason behind it. It started out with Purple's cool.
No, I think it's fine. Yeah, you're totally allowed to say that I got baked and thought Purple was sick.
Yeah. And then I started looking into it. I was like, oh, actually, I could make something here. But it started out with Purple's cool.
Yeah, it works. The logo as well has had a bit of an upgrade on the new stuff. That's pretty sick. Because it was pretty consistent for like that's been the logo for forever previously, right? Or for quite a long while.
We upgraded it a little bit for the last record for Michael and Terry. It's kind of the same thing, just a little bigger. And this time we were like, oh, let's actually update it a bit more because I like the old logo. The only thing is it looks like shit on posters when we're not like when we do like big like when we're the headline it can take up a lot of space and it looks cool, but when it's small I'm like it looks so thin.
Yeah, because it's not got the width, so like they'll put other things around it. I understand like just certain sizes and shapes of logos just make them a lot more impactful, don't they?
Yeah. So like we need to add some kind of like thickness to the logo.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the main reason. So like now it just looks better on poster. It was like again, every time we looked at a poster we were on, we're like always like, damn, it looks kind of shot, huh?
I mean, it all comes full circle, isn't it? Because it's the same mindset that's got into you just going, right, we're just going to write stupid chuggy riffs because that's what makes the crowds go mad. Now you're like, now we need to have a stupid chuggy logo so that it looks better on the posters. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So,
that's all experience drives it all. It's sick. It's sick as fuck.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about merch. We're like addicted to merch. I think it's the thing we think about the most ever.
Which is a bit of a shame. Probably think about something a bit more important.
I should probably, actually, I probably think about my son, but then I think about long sleeves. It's like it's only just really taken the turn, though.
You're
like,
looking forward to inheriting your long sleeve collection, aren't you? That's the one reason why you had a child, so you can hand it down.
Yeah. Do you sort of have any sort of interesting thing that you want to do with merch, or like, is there anything you think that like works better or sells better now that you've done a bunch of tours? Do you like plan that around like what sells and things like that? Like, I also want to talk about like long sleeves, like white long sleeves. No, people don't do them enough. More bands should be doing them. I just wanted to let you know that.
So, I think one thing we've come to realize is we stopped making merch for ourselves and so we have this curse in our band. Every time we come up with something, have a design, well, everybody in our band is like, oh, that's really sick, I'd wear that. Nobody fucking buys it.
All right.
Because like, and every time we have something, we're like, it's fine. Like it looks kind of like metal-y. It sells so well.
So you bet against yourselves now.
Yeah, that's the rule now. If we're like, it's probably like metalheads will like this. And I'm like, I probably wouldn't wear it. It sells.
Get the most stock of that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's one thing also because I think like there's been some lineup changes in the band. So everybody like in the band now all kind of grew up like mostly like listening to hardcore and stuff, and the aesthetic from there is just way different to the aesthetic that the people who listen to our music like. So we just found there's like kind of a disconnect between what we like and what our fans like. And once we kind of like swallowed that hard to swallow pill, it was like, oh, we sold so much more merch now.
Nice.
So it sounds like it might sound a bit dickheadish, but like we just don't share the same taste with our fans.
Yeah, that's fair.
So there's a lot of this merch we like, we do. Where I'm like, I can see that it's like the designer did a good job. I just don't like it's like not for me.
Yeah.
But I know it's gonna sell, so that's what we're gonna do.
Like, come back to me when you make me a purple tracksuit with the.
In the end, like where we make most of our money is on merchandise, so we need to prioritize selling.
100%. Yeah. Considering that is where you make a lot of the money, if you had any, I mean, ideas that maybe didn't come to fruition, but like, I feel like there's untapped things that people aren't making that they should be making that will sell really well. Like, be it obviously like hats are a lot more common now, like, but for a while they weren't. Like, I would say it's only really in the last sort of 10 years ish that like hats are a massive part of merch. Like, is there anything that you think that you'd like would like to start selling that you don't sell, or like any sort of gaps in the market that you see?
Cabal shoes, maybe.
Kind of like the only thing like with a lot of those like specialty items is they're like much more expensive to
Really
produce.
pricey to make, aren't they?
True.
Yeah, exactly. And if you make a fuck ton of them and they don't sell, you're like, fuck. That's like,
Yeah.
Every member of your family gets one for Christmas.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we've been we've been doing like fun stuff. We did earplugs that sold like selling a lot.
Sick.
Like there's like these silicone reusable ones with like a package. It's been one of
That's
our top
cool.
sellers.
Do you sell them at the gigs?
Yeah.
And not take offense.
No, it's
People
smart
look
because
after their
even if
hearing.
you don't like
It's a great
artists,
idea.
if you're at the show and you think we suck, we still have the good earplugs. So you need them to not listen to us.
Nah, it makes a lot of sense. Like, you walk in, you're like, oh, it's one of those like small venues where like I'm gonna go home with hearing damage and
Yeah.
like spend a little money on those. That's a great idea.
Yeah, so we've been doing that. We've been selling socks and stuff. They've been doing well. Like a lot of the little misc things we've been doing. We did air fresheners for cars. Just as a
No way.
Yeah.
That's
So cool.
absolutely sick.
Why
That
did
is
I
so
buy
sick.
I bought a beanie. Why did I not buy an air freshener for my
Yeah.
car?
It was just like shaped as a logo, like a symbol kind of thing.
That's cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, it didn't sell very well. People didn't like it apparently.
No, man.
Oh shit.
That's what it was cheap to make. So every
Yeah, it
now and
wasn't
then
so
we'll
bad.
try out something like. It is fun to do novelty stuff, but again, a lot of the time it's like there's a reason why people usually do certain things and stick to that is because it sells and it works. Like,
T-shirts, long sleeves,
And-
hoodies. Yeah,
Yeah.
the old classics.
the annoying thing was if you do like one of those things, it's not even the money. It's just like now we ship all of our merch ourselves and have like a storage in as a part of like our practice. And the most annoying part is not like the loss of income. It's just like now we have like fucking big box.
Just tripping over the boxes all the
That's
time.
in, like and it's just there now. We don't really want to chuck it either, but
No.
so now we just have more shit out there. And it fucks with me. I'm like, oh, I hate this box, but I don't know what to do. Yeah, but
That's good. I'm glad we got there because about the merch. That's what I wanted. I wanted to understand what was going down.
Always the
I
most
love that you
important.
did. I love that you did carve air fresheners, mate. That's fantastic.
yeah, it was
Are
didn't work.
is there still any of them going around? I might see if I can pick one up.
So, yeah.
I've literally just got the store up. Yeah, there is.
later.
Marker Rock car freshener for 12 euros. You can buy yourself a Marker Rock car freshener.
Order two. I'll have one. So while you're there,
Absolutely need it. Go and buy one, everyone,
I
please.
think the issue is
That's
also it
sick.
doesn't smell that great. It smells like a German bathroom does right after.
It smells like rot.
That was kind of a joke. We couldn't get it. We wanted like forest piney, but I think we couldn't get that. So there was something going on, so we couldn't really get the scent we wanted, and now it smells like soap.
this is the most amazing interview you've ever done. Talking about the scent of your air fresheners. Oh my god!
I love this. I absolutely love this.
What the people want to know.
This is what people are interested in.
Yeah,
Air fresheners,
the real
the
question.
decisions behind it. Yeah, this is hard hitting journalism, Gary. We might be up for a Pulitzer.
Yeah, you watch out. God, watch your back, Louis Theroux. Bloody hell.
So obviously, yeah, you got the album coming out in April, a couple months away. Is there how many more singles are you going to do before it comes?
3 more. So,
3 more. Big that. So it'll be 5.
Yeah.
How many tracks are on the record?
I think it's like a longest record yet. I want to say like 12 or 13. I think there's like a bonus track on the LP, so that's 13. I think it's
cool.
12 on the CD.
Japanese special edition. Amazing.
Yeah, kinda like-
People don't do
Yeah.
that. Because of streaming, you just kind of chuck it all out, can't you? But
Yeah, well, we still wanted to give like, because I want to sell LPs instead of CDs.
yeah.
So I want to give people like a reason to buy the LPs.
Yeah.
It is also still cool. It's like it bigger. It is like like this LP itself is purple and stuff. Like
Yeah, it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful. Yeah, so you're going to have like 5 singles in total. Like, how has that changed from? Like, I'm always interested in like understanding what bands' processes is when they're planning that. Like with streaming and Spotify and stuff being such a thing. Like, I feel like 5 is probably more singles than you did last time. Like,
I think we did
was that the
5 as
case?
well in the last
Oh,
one.
fair.
It's just we call it like a waterfall release, is where you kind of like for a long time you build. Um, and what it just does is like, so the singles are usually what gets pitched to playlists and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just having more
So it's
shots.
more bites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It also allows you to be kind of like relevant for a longer time. I kind of hated this like that, but the way it works now is just like kind of like you need to be consistent with releasing it, which is hard when you're doing album cycles like we do. But a way to kind of like stay more consistent is just doing like a longer like run before the album, which is like a lot of singles.
Yeah. Is there like much in like post the album as well? Like after the album comes out, like then another video comes out after. Like, is that sort of spread out? Is that do you do stuff like that?
Not really. Like we have a video that comes out like the last single comes out with the album.
Right.
And then we obviously got to promote the fuck out of the album as well. We're gonna do like tour on it and probably also like have
festivals.
some like see if we can get some like cool live recordings or like all that kind of stuff. But I feel like releasing a video, you can do that. It just doesn't make a lot of, like you can't really release singles after because then
totally.
you can't pick, like the way it's just like it all comes down to the way like the streaming platforms work. Like once the album is out, you can't pitch any more songs from it. So it's like it's down to like a technical aspect.
Right.
It's all just,
that makes so much sense. Yeah.
Just hype, and I guess once the record's out, they can't continue. They don't see it as building more hype for an.
It becomes a different release on the platform.
Yeah.
Like it would be a different version of it, and then that dilutes the streams and things like that. Yeah.
So it's really annoying that that actually dictates it, but it's just how it is.
Absolutely.
Like,
unfortunately, you're kind of a slave to it at this point. It's just the way that the world works. Once upon a time, it was, I don't know, cassette tapes or whatever. And now it's
Well, I feel like it's always been like that. Technology has always, in some format, dictated the art. Even if you some people don't want to admit it, but like back in the day, like you would write an album, like you'd probably cut songs to make sure it could fit on the LP.
Oh, to fit to a CD, yeah, absolutely.
Like unless you were fucking Pink Floyd, who did like Walls, like 4 LPs or something like that.
Triple album, it'd be fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. I don't know. You know, these you just got to kind of. Unfortunately, you have to play the game with these types of things, don't you?
Yeah, it's just how it is. It's the same thing with everything. Like visual content, kind of like switching to a vertical format now to like do better on phones. It's like it's not how I prefer it to be, but it's how it is. And then you can bitch and moan about it, or you can adapt and.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah, you could either complain and pale into irrelevancy, or you can make the change and just go, all right, well, fair enough, and
exactly.
It'll all come out in the wash when people are at our shows and having a sick time and won't have to worry about any of those, whether the videos are vertical or horizontal. We'll all just smash each other in the face. Yeah.
With vertical video, do you envision like there'll be a point in time where you'll do a whole music video that's vertical?
Maybe,
and like, is that time close? Like, it feels like it would be. Is anyone doing that yet?
Not really. What we've been doing is just like for most of our stuff, trying to like frame it differently when we film it, so it can be used in both.
So it's both, yeah.
Just because like YouTube is still one of the biggest like music discovery platforms. And having that like piece of long form content is still really, really like advantageous.
It
still makes sense to still like value that, and it also, it still also looks sick to have the full frame. People are still into that.
True,
but then you're also at the same time thinking about
I want to place everything in the middle now, like where I'd maybe do things a little different like previously.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, doing like just framing it so like at least you're in the middle, and then it can be sort of clipped out for the different sides, or you do one of those annoying things where it's like turn your phone, like say on the video, turn your phone now. Fuck that, dude.
People don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
There was a thing where people were doing that, weren't they? It was like turn your phone. It's like no, I'm just gonna flick.
I will not be told what to do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing you also need to like realize when doing a lot of this stuff. Like you can't really expect much from people. Like
no,
asking them to do stuff. It's like already there. You're gonna lose people. Like, which is
people get annoyed you ask them to subscribe.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Fuck you.
No.
Like,
Please do.
Yeah. Please like and subscribe this if you fancy. It'd be really nice. It'd be great. Go on. And they'll go, no. People will actively turn this video off now because I've even mentioned it.
I've watched 50 minutes of this. They've said they want us to subscribe. No, continue.
How fucking dare they?
Yeah. So yeah, just kind of make it as easy for people to. We're just in an age now where everything needs to be very accessible and easy. People don't really want to go out of their way to do anything.
Yeah,
just how it is now.
Attention spans are fucked.
No, yeah. I feel it on myself as well.
We're all guilty.
Yeah.
Of it.
Fucking TikTok.
Yeah, totally.
Running my brain.
You got the TikTok brain rot, dude. I wanted to ask you before we let you go. We very much appreciate your time this morning, Andreas. It's been bloody lovely. Is there anything that you're excited about musically? Anything like coming up this year? Any bands with new albums that you're looking forward to?
I think Möll, if you know that band.
Yes.
Yes.
Very much so. Very much so.
Finally putting out the next record. It's been a minute since they put out anything. I've heard
fantastic.
It's gonna be way different. I'm really like as excited I am to like. I'm just as excited to see the response from everybody.
Have you heard it?
Right.
Yeah, it's really fucking good, but it's different. So,
ooh,
exciting! I'm looking forward to that.
I think people are gonna like it, but it's always exciting when there's change. And like, oh, I wonder what people are gonna think about this.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm trying to even conceptualize what would be so different about them because they've got because it's so bright and lovely and like hopeful, like this, like their spin on black metal. To change that up, I'm like wondering. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
It's gonna be really, really sick. I'm excited to see what people think about it. The new Paleface album just dropped. I think it was like yesterday. I haven't gotten around to checking it out yet, so I'm excited to. After this, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna listen to that and see.
You're gonna do the biggest lifts of your life.
Exactly. What else is coming out? I think I have a suspicion that the guys in Nasty are gonna drop something.
Cool.
Because they released a new single in December, and I think it's almost 2 years since the last album, which I really liked. It's just like German ignorant.
Yeah, just ignorant as fuck, isn't it? Yeah.
There was a band that like never really clicked with me that much until we did some tours with them. Now I'm like, I listen to it so much every time I'm in the gym. I'm like,
hell yeah,
I'm so into it.
Amazing. There's loads of good shit coming out this year. It's going to be another great year for music. Last year was ridiculous. Death metal was insane. There's going to be some really cool shit this year.
Heavy Lolo have announced they're releasing a new album this 2020.
Excited
about that. Excited about that one.
Heavy Lolo from Second Story Window, and in all likelihood the Red Chord as well. But from what was happening,
dude, that's gonna be sick.
Mental, comebacks of bananas.
Yeah, I just feel like in general, like heavy music is at the peak right now. Like, I have a hard time imagining
everyone's coming back.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been bigger than it is now.
No, I agree.
Especially like heavy music. If they make
I guess you could kind of look at like early 2000s and new metal and how big that was, but the music that is big now is way heavier than anything that ever came out then.
like knocked loose. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Jimmy, like the heaviest on Jimmy Kimmel was nuts, dude. It was so sick.
insane.
Gut rules on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, fucking Shakespeare and Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
And then, that was not on my bingo card for 2024.
No one saw that one.
Yeah, and fucking Lorna Shaw exploding as well. Like that's a couple of years ago. But just like having these really extreme bands that haven't like, because I feel like what you mentioned, like the 2000s, a lot like the metal that was really like Slipknot and all that, really really big. It was still a bit more accessible. Like they were like Slipknot, like very aggressive, like in the first 2 records, but they also had stuff that was like a bit more like angled towards the radio,
choruses and ballads and stuff. They still
exactly.
they still played the game to a certain extent, but not bloody Lorna Shore or Not Loose.
And a lot of it was like, and a lot of it was like sort of accessible even through like the TV. Like you would like click onto like Kerrang and Scuzz and things like that, and I'm sure it's different. I don't know what the things are for like different countries, but like you could always just, if I got home from school and I put on Kerrang, I knew that like probably within 17 minutes I'd see a Slipknot video. Like also, it would happen. You knew that you would see Freak on a Leash 17 times like that day. Like just. And now it's it's all fragmented where everything is. There's not like, you don't go on as much as you click on YouTube. You don't like set YouTube to a channel and it just happens, does it?
Exactly. It's like it's way more personalized.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So yeah, I just
it must be good for you. Being a band like at your size and stage, like just understanding that like the consensus is that music's getting heavier and people are accepting heavier music for longer times. Like you've got loads of bands. You've got bands like, you look at like Whitechapel and things like that, who are like, they've got a new record coming out, they've been around forever, they're like sort of they're just sort of like deathcore legends at this point. And it must be great.
It is really like, we definitely feel like the what's called, like I want to call it like a runoff impact.
Like a groundswell type thing. Yeah,
it was like, also what's it saying, like a rising tide raises all ships.
So,
Gary loves that
all the time, and I fuck it up every time. You just nailed it first time.
It's just like something I feel very like good saying to keep in mind. Also, just like with being happy for everybody else's success again. Like we've definitely like we're like almost a full-time touring band, but we are also like still a smaller band, like in the grand scheme of things. But we've definitely felt that something happened, and where I think like a band like with our notoriety or whatever, like maybe 10 years ago, wouldn't have the same opportunities as a band like as we do now, and there wouldn't have been maybe the same interest in us. But since like I think the hype is for heavy music is so big, it's people are actively searching for bands like us. They're just like a couple of tiers below like the entry level bands who are also like really heavy now. Like,
hell yeah! Long may it continue. Long may it continue.
Fingers crossed. I don't want to have a job again.
Mate, this has been really fun. Thank you, Andreas, mate. This has been absolutely sick. We're we're really, really thankful for you to come back on. It's been a really interesting conversation, man. This has been sick. Maybe we'll, do it again in the future.
In another 5 years.
Another 5 years.
Oh, shit, dude.
Two even bigger albums. Talk about Audiotree again.
Dude, the Audiotree gate from 10 years ago. It's going to be so sick, man. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, maybe you could do a like or a subscribe. That'd be really sick on the old YouTube video. We really appreciate it. Also, we have a Discord that's full of really lovely people sharing brilliant music all the time. So if you're interested in new, heavy, lovely, brilliant music, you should pop on down. The old link will be in the description, as long as Gary bloody well puts it there.
Sure will. I'll make sure.
Andreas, thank you so much. Everybody go and listen to Everything Rots. It comes out on 11th of April, and Cabal fucking rule. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.